But we really like these shirts.
We do.
It's scary for the next one.
Yeah, well, Please have a seat and turn to page 2 for the Daily Liturgy. Gata of Atonement, all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought, now I atone for it all. Nikaya 3, Refuges. Buddham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. This precious human life, rarely encountered, is easily lost. Now that I have life and opportunity, may I practice the Dharma wholeheartedly. Mahayana refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of the lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers, for the lineage of teachers before them. I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened, and may their vows be completely realized. May I cultivate these perfections with their guidance. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings. Generating love and compassion. May all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness and the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. Okay, our reading for today will be Bodhisattva's Vow on page 12 in the spiral-bound book. Bodhisattva's Vow. I am only a simple disciple, but I offer these respectful words. When I look deeply into the real form of the universe, everything reveals the mysterious truth of the Tathagata. This truth never fails. In every moment and every place, things can't help but shine with this light. Realizing this, our ancestors gave reverent care to animals, birds, and all beings. Realizing this, we ourselves know that our daily food, clothing, and shelter are the warm body and beating heart of the Buddha. How can we be ungrateful to anyone or anything? Even though someone may be a fool, we can be compassionate. If someone turns against us, speaking ill of us and treating us bitterly, it's best to bow down. This is the Buddha appearing to us, finding ways to free us from our own attachments. The very ones that have made us suffer again and again and again, now on each flash of thought, a lotus flower blooms, and on each flower, a Buddha, the light of the Tathagata, appears before us, soaking into our feet. May we share this mind with all beings so that we and the world together may grow in wisdom. Please stand for the Heart Sutra. And today, we will chant the Heart Sutra followed by the harmony of relative and absolute. The Heart Sutra is on page 4, and the harmony of relative and absolute is on page 5. Great Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, practicing deep Prajna Paramita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form, form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form, sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are essentially empty, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without loss, without gain. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no seeing, and so on, to no thinking, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, and so on, to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death, no suffering, cause of suffering, cessation, path, no wisdom, and no attainment. Since there is nothing to attain, the Bodhisattva lives by prajna paramita, with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, and therefore no fear, far beyond delusive thinking. Right here is nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future live by prajna paramita, attaining anuttara samyak sambodhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great sacred mantra, the great vivid mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not mere formality. Therefore set forth the prajna paramita mantra. Set forth this mantra and proclaim gate gate para gate parsam gate bodhisvaha, gate gate para gate parsam gate bodhisvaha, gate gate para gate parsam gate bodhisvaha. The harmony of relative and absolute. The mind of the great sage of India is intimately conveyed from west to east. Among human beings are wise ones and fools, but in no way there is no northern or southern ancestor. The subtle source is clear and bright. The tributary streams flow through the darkness. To be attached to things is illusion. To encounter the absolute is not yet enlightenment. Each and all all the subjective and objective spheres are related and at the same time independent, related yet working differently, though each keeps its own place. Form makes the character and appearance different. Sounds distinguish comfort and discomfort. The dark makes all words one. The brightness distinguishes good and bad phrases. The four elements return to their nature as a child to its mother. Fire is hot, wind moves, water is wet, earth hard, eyes see, ears hear, nose smells, to taste the salt and sour. Each is independent of the other. Cause and effect must return to the great reality. The words high and low are used relatively. Within there is darkness, but do not try to understand that darkness. Within darkness there is light, but do not look for that light. Light and darkness are a pair, not one, not two, like the foot before and the foot behind in walking. Each thing has its own intrinsic value and is related to everything else in function and position. Ordinary life fits the absolute as a box and its lid. The absolute works together with the relative like two arrows meeting in midair. Reading words, you should grasp the great reality. Do not judge by any standards. If you do not see the way, you do not see it, even as you walk on it. When you walk the way, it is not near, it is not far. But if you are confused, mountains and rivers block your way. I respectfully urge you who study the mystery, do not pass your days and nights in vain. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. All that is and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the six worlds and dedicate it in grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the great Heartland Sangha and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be clear from all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate these merits to those who are suffering from the war in Ukraine and from war around the world, and those suffering from hurricanes and wildfires, and for those whose names are in the Sangha's Book of Intentions, as well as those whose names we hold in the silence of our hearts, and those whose names we now voice aloud. May we live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize the Buddha way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time. Bodhisattva Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Mahaprajna Paramita. Please prepare for Zazen. sound of the clappers, first and third rows turn to your right, second and fourth rows turn to your left. And when you hear the clappers again, begin a slow walk, turning the stillness of your zazen into the world. We will now recite the Sangha Covenant on page 8, the top of page 8. We, the Daishin Kokoju Sangha, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, covenant to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others. Please prepare for the Teisho. Gata on opening the Sutra, the Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for choosing to be here on this just gorgeous fall morning, isn't it? Isn't it wondrous? I so appreciate the fact that we live in a place, those of us who are local, where we get the full feeling of the seasons coming and going. I think it lends a certain kind of, I don't know, there's a certain quality that we get from that. Winter's coming, but we know it's followed by spring. And each season has its own just gorgeousness. And also there's a little grief kind of rubbed in there everywhere. And it's good to honor all of it. Speaking of grief, I kept turning the overhead mics on so that we could capture the wonderful sound we're making during the Gata and opening the Sutra. Is anybody else noticing the quality of our sound this day? I mean, it's just, that's a sound, man, as we say in jazz. It's a sound. And also, I enjoyed the, in the Kinhin, the guide rails are just stay on the track, and when we don't, it turns into a very silent exercise in bumper car. When they clap, everybody just... And how would you not know that? But yeah, stay the course. All will be well. Yesterday, we took a serious dive and a serious look into the 7 practices of the Bodhisattva, which is a core aspect of our liturgy. And really, oh my gosh, today, just feeling, if you really take in or can even start to take in the Dharmic kind of content that we all kind of rehearse together, it's really intense. If you really connect with what's going on, I remember in the faith tradition of my youth showing up, mumbling the words, sit, stand, kneel, whatever. But if you actually connect in your heart and in your body and in your mind with something of what's being pointed to, it's really so rich. And then today, of course, we added the identity. Now, that's a heavy teaching. Typically, the harmony or identity of relative and absolute in our tradition is something that we're used to bringing out only in the depths of silent retreat, but not today. Today, the identity said, hey, what am I? Chopped liver. Throw me in, coach. And so there we have it. Now, yesterday, we were looking at, as I mentioned, the 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. And in typical fashion, we didn't get through. We had 3 hours to talk about 7 lines, no deal. I think we got maybe halfway through, or a little more, a little less. I'm really not surprised, but kind of I am. But a question was asked, what does it mean to bow down in speech? This was a very good query that was brought forth. And though I gave one kind of response then, I shall give a different kind now. This business of bowing down in body, speech, and mind, if you really can connect with what this means, it is a lifesaver and a life giver. We read today in our reading the Bodhisattva, whatever it was, when shit happens, it's best to bow down. Modern translation, And this is really wise counsel and perhaps counterintuitive. We might feel we need to fight, we need to resist, we need to put up barriers and redraw the map in our favor against all odds or with them. And perhaps at times. But the core essential business of knowing how to actually bow down to the moment you're in. You're not worshiping the moment you're in. You're not beseeching and supplicating some boon or favor from some entity somewhere. It's simply meeting the moment head on, full contact, with awe, even this, whatever it is, whatever this is, being able to meet your life as it actually is. This is what's being pointed to with this bowing down in body, speech, and mind. How can you not see the incredible light right now with the leaves and the fall breeze and the scent of the temple forests moving through the still hall of the temple and not feel some, wow, what is this? Right? Here we are in the midst of the city, such as it is, and surrounded by all of this. And this way of connecting with what is actually so, when we really do it, it's the most natural thing in the world to be like, wow, how amazing. And you know what? The universe bows back. This is not a one-way ticket. There's a mutual arising, a mutual realizing, and a mutual recognizing, see. And it includes even the unwelcome things. This is a comfortable and lovely thing to point to, but it's also the diagnosis and the need that you didn't see coming and don't like. Can you bow down to that? Because actually, that is my practice right now. My practice has gone from really cool internal Aiki arts to therabands. But if I don't do them, I'm not going to be doing kinhin that day. And so guess what? I do them, right? And knowing how to bow down to them. But what about this bowing down in speech? What does it mean to bow down in speech? How do we practice this? What would that look like? In the Pali Canon, Bhikkhu Bodhi, who is a primary translator, still living and an amazing resource for the Mahasangha writ large, he translated from the Pali Canon a few things that I would like to point out to us to help address this a little bit. Possessing 5 factors. So from the Buddha, he said, monks, when speech possesses 5 factors, it is well spoken, not badly spoken. And it is blameless and irreproachable among the wise. What 5 qualities are these? It is spoken, 1, at the proper time. What is said, 2, is true. And then 3, it is spoken gently. What is said, this is the 4th one, is beneficial. And finally, it is spoken with the mind of loving kindness. When speech possesses these 5 factors, proper time, truth, gently, it's beneficial, and with the mind and heart of loving kindness, then it is well spoken and not badly spoken, and it is blameless and irreproachable among the wise. So this business of bowing down in speech has to do with being skillful. I think it's a little bit of a Zen disease that some may fall into, and sometimes to think, oh, it's all empty and nothing's here and it doesn't matter and nothing, so, who cares? And that really misses the mark, guys. That is not acceptable. There's way more to this than just hanging out in the cave of nothing. You need to know that cave. You need to be good friends with it, but you do not want to live there. So, timing. I'm sure if we sat down and thought about it carefully, we could all come up with at least a couple whoppers. When someone is just coming at you at the wrong time, everything else is right. The deck is all stacked just fine, but not now. I confess I'm particularly vulnerable in the early morning. The sun isn't up, but I am for whatever reason. It's not the time to start discussing spreadsheets and, how do I get the computer to, oh, for God's sake, So timing, right? Knowing how to sense when the right time is happening. This is the most important thing in music, I will say, is the rhythm of it. If it ain't swinging, it's not happening. And if the rhythm is right, you can basically play anything. That's true. If your rhythm is good, right? So the timing of when we speak, and music is just another speech, that's all it is. It's just a little more subtle, depending on the poet. But if you can feel the right timing of the communication, right? And we get tons of training in this at Sesshin, tons of it. Believe me, there's a lot that needs to be talked about during retreat. It's a huge mechanism to get going and get everything oiled and everything's working and running smoothly. But learning how to speak at the right time is an incredibly important skill. Just because a thought comes careening through your mind does not mean you should just go and blurt it out to the other person. Please. at least if it's me. Okay. So timing, knowing how to sense the timing of things, right? And believe it or not, the business that we have here in the Sangha, where, we turn and we bow and we face this way, and this is all timing training. This is getting the Sangha to move as one unit. We all make the same groove. And it's a body experience, right? It's not something you can't think your way through to that, count to 5 and then turn. It just isn't going to work. You have to feel the room, and we have to connect together. So when you find yourself in one of these lovely hot seats, or goodness help you, that one, it's really about this timing business. And once you're attuned to it, you can feel it. There's a groove, there's a pocket. Boom, we bow here, right? And once you're acclimated to it, when that groove is missed, everything's like, dude, keep it steady, all right? And so you shouldn't be afraid of that. You shouldn't say, oh, I don't have rhythm, I'm not doing this. No. You don't have rhythm? Good, do it. It's not about being perfect, it's about training, and it's about getting some experience with this, see. Much of the skill and power of words in Zen training also occurs in the Dokusan room, right? And there's been times, many of them, where I'm before my teacher, and this command of timing, this ability to say just the right live word at just the right moment when my thick skull is actually permeable enough to let it in. And my heart's unbounded for just a second, and it can actually get right in there, right? Proper time. Please practice proper timing with your speech. This is important, right? What is said must be true. Now this, I suppose, should go without saying, but let's go ahead and say it. As far as you can know, as far as you can recognize, admitting with humility that who can say, but yes, this is actually my truth. This is true. There's data which we can verify, and there's our own experience. And it's very important when bowing down in speech that you really are conscious that nothing but honest authenticity should ever come out of your lips. Anything less is not acceptable. Now, we all have social norms, hey, what's happening? No, not much. I mean, it's okay. I'm not saying you've got to give a complete rundown of every tick in your stock market, how things are going, unless they're really asking. And it seems like the right time. Oh, wait a minute, which is it? Is it right timing, or is it true? Which one wins? Okay, so this is where you have to learn how to play the changes. And you really do, right? One of the elements here is it's got to ring true for you, and hopefully, though it's not always workable, for the person you're speaking with. That's the best. And if you practice speaking truth, then your words gain a kind of gravity and a kind of weight over time with folks. You become known as someone who actually speaks what's true. You can be wrong, no kidding. I'm not saying that. But you're speaking your authentic experience. When your friends and your family and the world can rely on the quality of your speech as being authentic, the world is just better off. Is it not? Consider the opposite. Someone who's trapped in a world of deceit, where they constantly have to mask and dodge and deflect and camouflage, cover trails, make diversions. Whew, that's exhausting. And everybody knows you're doing it. Anyway, you can't hide, not really. Maybe for a hot minute, but it's not a good trade. It must be spoken gently. Now, this doesn't mean frail. It sure as hell doesn't mean weak. but it means not aggressive. I think that's the way I would say it. That what you say does not have this kind of internal aggression. And believe me, it comes out readily at times, you know. But the practice is to have a gentle quality. And this gentleness is actually far more powerful. If it's timed right and it's authentic, you do not need to add any aggression. In fact, the amount of aggression you add, the more push and pull you put into what you're saying, the less use it is. No one likes being pushed. Nobody. It feels like bad. Your structure, your kinesthetic chain will push back whether you wanted to or not. You know, I mean, it's in the body, and you can do that with your words. If your words have a, hey, I'm walking here kind of thing, it communicates, and the other person is going to push back whether they know about it or not. You know what I'm saying? So this is not, you know, pull and push when pulled. We're not talking about judo here, right? Gentle power, because you do not need this extra kind of aggression to make it, you know. Why? Because your timing is great and you're saying what's authentic. What need do you have for this extraneous? It's just noise. It doesn't help the communication. And it's difficult because sometimes, I mean, I know the feeling really well. We feel like we're doing our best to communicate something. The signal is not being received, and so we're going to turn the volume up and play it louder. But that, according to the Buddha's wisdom, this is not effective. This is not really bowing down in speech. This is just adding more anger. And by the way, all this applies when you're talking to yourself. Ooh. I don't talk to myself. Never. I never do that. Do I do that? No, I don't do that. No. It's not. Doesn't apply to me. He's crazy. What is said must be beneficial. There's got to be some way that what you're saying actually can be useful. And not just useful for whatever, but will this actually help anything? Is this, and what is help, what's worth of help? Alleviating suffering and anguish, increasing happiness and joy and wisdom and compassion in the world. That's worth your breath, huh? Does this even have a chance of actually helping? Can this actually be useful, what I'm about to contribute? This, even if it's what you're contributing is nothing more than an earnest connection. It's nice to see you. And you're not like bullshitting anybody. It's nice to see you. That's incredibly useful. How many of our fellow Homo sapiens are just sick from the lack of connection and community? Just don't underestimate a simple, hey, I'm glad you're here. That can be incredibly useful. Does it make sense? You don't have to solve cancer, although if you can, please do. But it's really down home and simple, right? This feeling of connection is no less important, right? So it can be well timed, it can be authentic, it can be spoken with no aggression, but can it actually help? Now, you won't know. You can't always know. Sometimes you pretty well do, but there's always plenty of room for not knowing, huh? There's so many karmic pushes and pulls and swirls, and there's so many different factors at play that you will never be able to account for, no matter how good you are at trying to do it. But we have to have a reasonable sense that, yeah, authentically, this seems like this could be useful. And check yourself. Many of us are used to just sputtering and spattering and spewing and just on and on and on, not even noticing it. Just as though you have a nasal infection and there's just running out of your head over and over, all over everything and everyone. You know, yeah, there's a visual, right? Yeah. So your words are like this. I mean, your words have karmic weight, guys. They really do, right? And so you want to learn to really wield them well. It's a precious thing that we can actually form phonemes in a way that's recognizable as meaning exchange with each other. This is incredible. Use it wisely, right? And then the last, it is spoken with a mind of loving kindness. This means your speech is free from any hidden barbs. There's a little Zen saying, barbs in the mud. There's no hidden traps. You're not trying to scrape a chunk out of the other person, right? You're not trying to hurt them or put yourself up and push them down or anything like this. Really, it's even if all the other factors are in line, but you've got your snowball laced with a bunch of pins and needles. It looks pure on the outside, but don't you throw that thing. Last thing you want is for that to actually hit its target. Why? Because karma will be coming for you. And that's not a joke, and this is not a game. You do not want to be doing that stuff. Now, karma, speaking of it, depends on intention, okay? If you intend anything other than loving kindness, this is not optimal. The intention is loving kindness and compassion. Now, I know, believe me, that we all are and will be again in heated, pressured situations, and there's always this quality of no time. There's this urgency, it's got to be right now. And that compressed feeling of there's no time to think or adjust, you just got it right now, many times is pure fantasy. It's a storm happening in your brain, in your body. You're flooding with adrenaline. It does feel to you that that's true, but it's actually a hallucination. It's actually not so. And it's that false urgency that source kind of just comes in and sweeps everything else off the table and says, this, you know what I'm saying? And you want to be able to recognize that quality. If you're speaking to yourself or to anyone else from that as your power source, nothing optimal can come from it. The power source you should be plugged into love. That's where the juice comes from. That's where the power source is. Talk about clean energy, huh? You do not want to be burning hate as the fuel for what you're doing, or fear, or greed, or jealousy, or blah, blah, blah. Really, it's very simple. Goodwill. Wishing the best for yourself and others. The Buddha goes on and says, those who speak with quarrelsome intent, settled in their opinions and swollen with pride, ignoble, having assailed virtues, looking for openings to attack one another. They mutually delight when their opponent speaks badly and makes a mistake. They rejoice in their bewilderment and defeat. But the noble ones do not engage in such talk. Now, I want to stick up for good, clear thinking and rhetorical mojo. You need to know how to think clearly and how to be able to have an intelligent conversation, even a very difficult one. But just because you can see through maybe some gap in your friend's view doesn't mean you should just pummel them. It should be rather like a healthy and strong dad playing with their young child, wrestling in the living room. Yes, dad could pin the kid. This is not the point. The point is expressing love and connection and growth. So you should be able to think very clearly and not be an asshole about it? Have you not been so goddamn right that it becomes really wrong? You just smack everybody with how right you are, and you're right, you're not wrong, but you're wrong. Loving kindness is the fuel, not self-adoration, not flourishes of your wit or intellect or cunningness. Even in the service of a noble topic, it's not acceptable. Not for Sangha. If a wise person wants to talk, having known the time is right, without quarrelsomeness or pride, the sagely person should utter the speech that the noble ones practice, which is connected with the Dharma and with deep meaning. When you speak, it's a miraculous occurrence in the universe. Have something there. Not being insolent or aggressive, with a mind not elated, they speak free from envy on the basis of right knowledge. They approve of what is well expressed, but should not just attack what is badly stated. It's very interesting if you read the discourses of the Buddha and also many Zen masters. The querent has all kinds of funny ideas or skewed views of things. And the response is always skillful. It's not just a smack, although in Zen it can be a smack. But there's something more going on there. They should not train in fault finding nor seize on others' mistakes. They should not overwhelm and crush their opponent, nor speak mendacious words. Anybody know mendacious? I did. Yeah, it means lying. Who said that? Yeah, good job, Doan. Sweet. Yeah, I had no idea. I had to Google that one. Mendacious words. Well, what a mendacious comment. Truly, a discussion among the good is for the sake of knowledge and confidence. Interesting, confidence. You know that ability to wake up, brush your teeth, pull your socks up, right? Tuck your shirt in and actually meet your day. Anyway, this is the confidence of daily life in the Dharma. In many days, it is not a given. Many. Such is the way the noble discuss things. This is the discussion of the noble ones. Having understood thus, the wise ones should not swell up, but should discuss things. Much of our society is flooded with mean, aggressive, ill-intended, divisive speech. Regardless of how correct or not, it's wrong. Let our speech as a Sangha come from the energy of love and kindness for the benefit of ourselves and all those we interact with. May it be so.
Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. impossible. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for coming today. And we have delicious food out there. After announcements, I just wanted to say that we have a special way that we're going to be washing dishes. So do you want to talk about it?
We hadn't really rehearsed what to say. So I'm not sure, but I was going to say that the food line won't be open until we announce that it is, and I think we're going to give a little bit of further instructions when that happens. So please be patient with us, and we will put things out as soon as we can. Thank you so much.
Are there any other announcements? Okay.
I think it's 5 weeks from tomorrow, on Monday, November 7th, there is a sacred music concert as part of the Multi-Faith Council And it's a Monday evening, and we're going to do something. And if you are interested at all in participating, please see me right over here immediately when we're done here. We're just initially planning, it'll take like 5 minutes. I just want to know who's possibly interested, so right here after we're done with announcements. Thank you.
I'm Eka. I just wanted to give a friendly reminder that October session is the 13th through the 16th, and registration will close tomorrow evening. That doesn't mean that you couldn't contact me and we'll work things out, but I'm tantoing for the first time, so be kind. But also, there's only 2 more sessions left in this year. There's October and November, and then it's Rohatsu, which is only for Shogun students. So if you're not a Shogun student, you only have 2 more opportunities this year during Ango, so get on that. That'll be fun. And also, if you're interested in discerning Shoken, please reach out to myself, Shinyu, and Ankin are here from the Guardian Council. So if you're interested in that or have any other further questions, please do that, because there's still time to get in on that class for next year. So yes, please register. If you've never been to Sesshin and you're interested, see as we say. Thank you. I've spoken.
Thank you.
Just a brief warning that on the last Sunday of this month, October 30th, from 2 to 5, we're going to have a workshop on death and dying, now that we've done visioning. And it's really on the logistics of funeral planning, memorial services, the range of options we might have available, any questions you may have. And we have had a committee that's been meeting for months on this. So there will be an announcement in the newsletter, which should come out in about 2 weeks. So if you have any questions, please see me, Kensei, Bujo. Thank you.
Anybody else with announcements?
I think I would just like to add, if I may, that the business about death and dying, maybe I should, sorry. Thank you. I should follow our guidelines for practice with the microphone. I just do want to add, though, that it's everyone was quite touched by Tenka's funeral, and since that time, a really dedicated committee and team has been really thinking through very carefully, as Shokai said, how does our community wield this? And we have some seriously good answers. And they include the funeral and how it works, memorial services, what they are, what's involved in all of this. It also has to do with a temple cemetery, a place where ashes will be, where memorial markers will be. It's planned to be right on the other side of this wall back into these woods. So you can imagine that at some point, many of us will be gathered there practicing still. And so how do we make this real? How do we actually add this? And how do we memorialize folks that have passed away in the Ancestors Hall? One day we will all join the ranks of the ancestors. There's a way that we do these things. So I can't tell you how many individual messages and questions I've gotten since that funeral happened, and now we finally have answers. So please do make a point to be there. There's much to consider. And Shokai, thank you for announcing that.
Please restore the Zendo.